Boy, I tell you, those two guys can play. They can play golf.
Where are they? Oh, there they are. Look at them. They are in suits. I've never seen them in suits before. Now, apart from that, they are the greatest talent we have.
Hello, everybody. How are you? Oh, no, yeah.
First minutes order. Thank you so much.
That's great.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Why don't we come into the Oval Office, okay?
All right.
Vice President.
Welcome. Thank you. Good to meet you too. How are you?
Very well.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome, nice to meet you.
Welcome, Mr. President.
Any good to you?
He wants to move back to He wants to move back. He's going back to South Africa. Breaking news.
You show up on Stephen Miller's deportation list, sir.
The U.S. product I'm taking home is this one.
He's a good man. Good man.
Welcome to another political chat. Welcome to NEWZ, where I will be discussing politics. Let us jump into it without wasting no time. I'm your host, Osabelo Wagazuma Omshuluzi, and I say you are welcome. Seems like finally Elon Musk company Starlink is coming here in South Africa, and not only it, and other companies from the US as well. So the minister of Technologies and Digital Technologies, Solly Malatsi, has pronounced this deal that it's already done.
Well, let's hone in on that headline story. ICASA says it's studying the policy directive for a possible change in law that would allow Starlink and similar telecoms companies to operate in South Africa. Communications Minister Solly Malatsi has now formally gazetted a request for public comment. Let's bring in COSATU's parliamentary coordinator, Matthew Parks. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I mean, it seems a bit like a cop-out for someone to accommodate someone who calls South Africa's transformation laws racist.
So as you've seen your president making some signatures there, marking some serious box, or Trump was just standing behind him as a happy man. Because it is very funny, when after he signed that, he went now to greet the representative, the delegate from the US side. And guess who was there with government people? Business. One man who is business, called Elon Musk, right? So the entire meeting was about him, because he has fed Donald J. Trump with lies and told him lies just to have his way, right? Because there are some policies that, according to them, are being interpreted as racist policies, racist laws that needs to change in order to open the doors for American companies to go and flood South Africa without paying any tax or sharing anything, right, with the locals there. So they are coming now to loot and to grab and to take and to steal everything in the name of business. Now, this ordeal was organized with lies and falsehood just to save one man, Elon Musk, right? I just learned that the most dangerous person now, it was that man called Elon Musk, because he can manipulate and share false information just to have his own way. Let's read this article. South Africa is poised for a major policy shift that could transform its telecommunications sector and draw global tech giants like Starlink into its market. On Friday, 23 May 2025, Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies Solly Malatsi released a proposed policy direction to the Independent Communication Authority of South Africa, ICASA, seeking to amend the licensing rules under the Electronic Communications Act. This initiative aims to relax the stringent Black Economic Empowerment (BEE) equity requirements which have long been handled for foreign companies, including Elon Musk's satellite internet service Starlink, by allowing multinational firms to meet empowerment goals through equity equivalent investment programs rather than the traditional 30% equity ownership mandate. The government hopes to unlock investment, boost competition, and expand broadband access across the nation. A new approach to empowerment. For decades, South Africa's BEE policy have been a cornerstone of its effort to redress historical inequalities stemming from apartheid. The requirements that foreign telecommunications licenses sell 30% of their local subsidiaries to historically disadvantaged groups. Yeah, you have it, folks. It is finally happening. It is confirmed, right, that this is within 24 hours. The deal was signed, sealed, delivered. So it's happening. A lot of foreign companies, especially Elon Musk, will come and just increase his riches from our wealth because our president has given that privilege to him. So I want us to talk about something very interesting about the pictures that Donald Trump did show to the world and the delegations that were represented there, right? Others, they say it was the ambush. They were ambushed, right? They were shocked. They were not expecting that, right? But let us look at those pictures because there's some new evidence that has come and exposed to say that some of the pictures that Donald Trump did show were fake, were not emanating from South Africa, but they are coming in other parts of the countries in Africa, right? There were actually pictures from the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. These pictures showed humanitarians burying bodies in the city of Goma, province of North Kivu. The footage was captured in February following deadly battle with the Rwanda-backed M23 rebels. So now I will just play you this clip, and I want you to be the judge of this.
They were attacked violently.
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it is?
Well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are all white farmers that are being buried.
So, by the way, the person who captured that photo, it is reported that the person that captured the photo responded to the pictures to say that, no, those are my pictures that I have taken from the DRC. They are not from South Africa. That is why there was the question that was coming now from President Ramaphosa to ask, where is this?
They told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is because this I've never seen.
I mean, it's in South Africa. That's
right, where is this? And they said, I never saw this, right? And it was true, he never saw that because that was not South Africa, right? So the white crosses now, they didn't mark the actual graves because our South African gravesite does not look anything like that. But were red crosses placed by those who have organized the march about the farm attacks of both black and white people murdered on farms. So the crosses were placed in 2020, right? So these crosses there are not grave site, as Trump said that he was also lying. So every information that Trump did there or provided, it was distorted. It was changed to fit some particular narrative and to push a certain agenda so that they will have all these companies, their companies that they have shares on and that they own, to come and invade now South Africa, to loot South Africa, right? And to pay no tax or whatsoever or share anything with the South Africans. So they wanted to have their way. And the unfortunate part, our president was willing to give everything to them. He was just the Father Christmas to them, right? So
it is a tiny, frightening, and unfortunate number in terms of the deaths in relation to farm attacks. About in the last 4 years, 225 farm attacks, 101 farm dwellers who are majority black, 55 farm owners who are majority white. So that is a period of 4 years, and that does not represent a genocide. But it is still unfortunate. It should not happen because any crime, it is a crime. And that's why the president then stated that we are dealing with a crime situation that we need to respond to, which affects all the population irrespective of race. And blacks are the most affected by this crime.
So Mulutempegi said something very powerful. He said that they were exposed, that they were not ready. They were not ready for the ambush, right? So President Ramaphosa and his GNU buddies, including business, the likes of Johan Rupert and the golfers, they were not prepared as they went there, as they were ambushed by Trump. So they were not prepared for a video, and now appeared as if, according to Mulutempegi, appeared as if now they were shocked, because afterward, that is when now the meeting became even more tense.
In the meantime, he was sharpening his sword, and when he was ready, he pounced on them.
Should they have anticipated that? And how should they have handled it?
Well, they should have anticipated it, and they should have prepared very thoroughly as to who was going to answer those questions. They should never have allowed the team to come in. It should have been one person, either the president himself or one other person who he selected. And they should have prepared what answers to give to what questions. They never did that. They didn't prepare, and so Trump walked away with them.
So I suppose, listening to what you're saying, then you do agree with those who are saying it was not coordinated, because when you listen to, for example, Zingiswalos Kusatu's president, she was quite clear actually on the issue of expropriation and quite clear on what needs to be done. And then you listen to the, Ernie Els, you listen to some of the delegation there. They talk about a South Africa that needs help. The ANC has been there for 35 years. Things simply aren't working, even referencing that Madiba got out of prison and he wasn't vengeful and all of that. So did they need to have a coordinated message?
Absolutely. It's because they didn't rehearse. They should have rehearsed for this question because they knew it was coming. Trump has been repeating this many times. So they knew the question was coming, and they should have had a rehearsal as to how it was going to be handled and who was going to handle the question and what were the issues that were going to raise. At the end of the day, during that whole session, they ended up denouncing our own country. I mean, I was shocked. Our own presidential delegation is going to the largest economy in the world with the most visible president in the world, and they're telling the world we're a crime-ridden country. So what are they doing to the tourism for South Africa? What are they doing to the reputation of the country if they're going to the White House to say we're a crime-ridden country? Anyway, Trump didn't ask them. He just said there's genocide against Afrikaans people or Afrikaans farmers. He didn't ask whether we have crime or we don't have crime, but they are the ones who are bad-mouthing the country. That's what happens if you don't. They should ask themselves that question. Secondly, what does he do? What is he going to do with those people when they get back, when they get to the United States? Those are the two primary questions they should have asked themselves. In my view, Trump is trying to build what is called a fifth column in South Africa. He's trying to build a group that is antagonistic, especially to the ANC, but answers to him.
So Ronald Lamula says that in the past 4 years, there were 225 farm attacks, and there were 111 farm dwellers who are majority black, 55 farm owners who are majority white. So those crosses, the white crosses that Trump displayed or showed, was both white and black, right? Commemoration of the people who have died in these farm attacks. Because according to Trump, he thinks that the only farmers we have here is white people, but we also do have black people who are also farmers, right? And who are also targets from these criminal syndicates who go around these farms, because these people are just in the forest, in the mountains. They have no security, and these criminals are looking for money, right? So when they get there, they become very lethal in terms of executing their work of killing and maybe torturing and just causing pain, right? So seems like now Ronald Lamula was awakened, or the memory just it was a reboot, like it came back to the senses, so that he will understand that, okay, now I have the figures right. A lot of people who are dying in the country are these ones. Also, these ones are dying, but they are just a few, because I mean, they make 7% of the population, right? And the crime problem is that all these ones are the targets of the crime problems, are the victims of crimes. That's what now he was supposed to say, even though he spoke maybe just for a minute or 30 seconds and say something just to oppose Trump, right? Because it seems like they were even scared to oppose, to appease the wrath of the men. So let's see what Mbeki says here, because Mbeki has all the information that we need. On social media, many people were not happy with President Cyril Ramaphosa, and now we are waiting now to hear from the ANC of what is their take, and especially on Johan Rupert and business being there, because they are not part of government, but being there as the delegation now to talk diplomacy with the USA, but they are not part of the government. So they were not there to represent us. They were there to represent themselves, their businesses, their pocket, and their profit. That is why now we are hearing that within 24 hours, the minister has changed some policies so that Elon Musk and his business Starlink will be coming here, and other major companies from the USA. This is what it is, and you can't change it. We don't have that power. It is already done. President Ramaphosa is already sold out. Please don't forget, you can leave a comment on the section below, and you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. And until we meet the next time, and I'm bowing out.